Sri Lankan president to be Jayawardena, after winning two-third majority, he is the natural nominee for the presidency, but the Sinhala chauvinist did not allow him to become the president. He had to be actually forced to change religion, and he voluntarily turned himself into a Buddhist just to become president of Sri Lanka. And that is when the Buddhist clergy exerted their power over Sri Lankan politics. A racist who played the racist card, wiped out, and also got the mandate to wipe out a race, still could not become a president until he became a Buddhist first. So he converted to Buddhism and became the Sri Lankan president. With that agenda, everything became fully fledged war. No more conflict, it became a war. And war of not just words, but war of actions. Bloodshed was a norm. What happened in July 83, where everything was intentional and state orchestrated the looting, and now from then onwards state carried out the war itself, started buying weapons and bringing the international community into the scene. The Tamil people became the next wave of boat people, went into neighboring India in their thousands and into Europe, Australia and America, Canada, and became refugees all over the world, creating a new chapter in the Tamil struggle, and to an extent helped to internalize and started giving voice for the voiceless people of the island of Sri Lanka, which is the Tamil race. The diaspora became very strong as they recovered themselves from the pain of war, established in their diaspora countries, established with hardworking loyalty, and the second generation who were born and brought up here, they became more and more aware, and they are preparing for the next phase of the Tamil struggle. Naturally, the 30 years of non-violence struggle, the following 30 years of armed struggle, and now it has reached the final pinnacle stage through diplomacy, through economy, and through consistent, continuous participation of the people's struggle, which is bound to win the justice that is due, well overdue, for the Tamil community. And it's a justice that needs to be guaranteed, and that's a justice that needs to be carried out under the supervision of the international community, because the international community had contributed to the injustice, some of the injustice that had taken place in the island, especially in the last phases of war, not just the armed struggle, but at the crucial turning points where the United Nations Charter was clearly breached. International treaties were clearly destroyed. Even the regional agreements between two countries like India and the sovereign nation of Sri Lanka, they had a treaty that was destroyed. So all the known legal procedures and actions were denied, and the world became a very strange where even the enemies among different territorial like Pakistan and India were enemies. China and India was in conflict. Even those conflicting countries joined hands together to destroy the Tamil interest. And this unusual method of war had created a precedence among the new world order. It was started with Sri Lanka, and the end of war had quickly taken over by countries like Syria, like in Iraq, Egypt, Russia, in Ukraine. So the international government felt this was a military tactic that had worked, and they had taken the wars, the illegal wars, to a different dimension following the precedents of Sri Lanka. And the struggles of the oppressed people, the resistance, they felt the just war that was carried out on the Tamil side was not honored. The disciplined fighters and the leadership of the Tamil Tigers became a failed way to face an enemy which was totally unjust and was not adhering to any of the international norms. So now the world is also facing the enemies justifying the terrorists, whether be Al-Qaeda, whether be ISIS. You find around the world the people who are opposing and fighting a war, they couldn't follow what the Tamil Tigers did, because they felt the enemies are using illegal and immoral and hard warfare. So this has created a world that is escalating itself. In a nuclear terms, everybody talks about North Korea, how North Korea is breaching all the norms and threatening the world. The same way, the international governments also were very irresponsible in their actions against a small community, small nation that was totally weak and trying to demonstrate, and the cry for them to establish a rule that was set during after World War II, which is United Nations Human Rights Charter. The fundamentals to world peace was created through that charter. United Nations was formed to make sure there is not another war that will happen that will turn into a world war. Yet the foundation to United Nations Charter was destroyed. Every single clause was destroyed, and the world kept silence. The silence of good people was the worst thing. That's the first and the major blow to the real honesty in the world, and also the community, the world order now. So what the Tamil people and all the humanists, the people who really want peace, the environmentalists, all the good officials of United Nations and each and every country, what we must be coming together is to stand firm and ask United Nations Charter to be honored, upheld and implemented. And the international trial and bringing justice for the Tamil community is to bring permanent peace, compensation for the loss of lives, return of Tamil people's land back to their hand, withdrawal of the military forces back into barracks or back into their homelands, and also the war crimes that has been committed, regardless of who committed it, must be independently verified and tried under the international law. Until such thing happens, if we cannot solve a problem in a country where there is no oil, where there is no big resources, a country as tiny as Sri Lanka, if we couldn't find a permanent solution in that small country, there is no way the world is matured enough to solve any of the conflicts elsewhere around the world, which is much bigger in scale and which is much more complicated in terms of regions. So again, Sri Lanka has become an important milestone presidency for the future of the world. And hence we urge every single humanist to take part in a demonstration as a symbolic gesture that is going to be held, and one will going to be elaborating on the demonstration and the anniversary date of the Black July for the Tamil people and the human race.
Thank you. You had to remember that whatever happened in 1983 is the genocide, well-documented genocide. If the action had been taken, because at that time that even Indian Parliament was informed of that, as well as the United Nations requested Sri Lanka to submit a report regarding this with what is happening. So that was not followed up, and still Sri Lanka has not done anything, but that international intervention of these 3,000 people killed might have might have got our people some rights, and might have not taken this 2009 after that, the civil war where more than 300,000 life was lost and 150,000 people would have disappeared, and this should not have happened if there was action taken in 1983 then. This is what the world has failed, India has failed, world has failed to stop the genocide of Tamils. But in 2009, again the world was given the opportunity, but still they are continuing, still 8 years, no question, no firm action. That is the reason we had to ask them 34 years, Sri Lanka, still they are asking Sri Lanka to carry out the investigation and do some solution. They have not done any solution for last 34 years. Are they going to do any solution for this 9 years or 2009? So bringing that into the focus, we are commemorating on the 23rd of July in front of 10 Downing Street from 1:30 onwards, and we are commemorating, saying that as Tamils we still are waiting as a victim of that genocide in 83. I am still waiting for my loved ones' justice. I'm still waiting for that. So in the same way, there are a lot of people who have been affected in 1983. They should also come and commemorate this loss of life, as well as we had to inform the international community that we are still waiting for justice for 1983. And this had to be taken in, and we do this commemoration in English. So the reason for doing that is that we had to talk to the international community where the justice is denied for Tamils for more than 34 years now, as far as the 1983 is concerned, more than 80 years now, as far as the 2009. When are we going to get justice? Is it not that world for a small nation like Tamils, are they never going to get justice? That is the question which we are asking. We are asking the right mind of people, very loving people throughout the world, this same question.